Hey guys, welcome to another deck profile. Today I'm going to be profiling one of my favorite casual decks to play. Of course, I'm talking about Marincess. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. We're starting off the deck profile by playing 3 copies of Marincess Blue Tang. What to say about this card? This card is essentially the best card in the deck. This card says if it's a normal or special summon, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your deck to the graveyard, except a copy of itself. Also, if it's sent to the graveyard for the link summon of a water monster, any water monster, not a Marincess monster, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and then add one of the excavated Marincess cards to your hand. So, this card is amazing. This card is essentially a Foolish Burial on summon, and then when it's sent to the graveyard for the link summon of a water monster, typically you're going to be link summoning Marincess monsters, obviously, you get a Pot of Duality. So that is really, really good. Really strong, and because of that, you play 3 of this. This is the one card in the deck I say it's not negotiable that you play 3 of. Another card I play 3 of is Marincess Seahorse. This card says you can special summon this card from your hand to a zone and Marincess link monster points to. You can only special summon Seahorse once per turn this way, and then during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card in your graveyard, special summon 1 water monster from your hand to a zone Marincess link monster points to. So this is really good because this is an extender for your plays, so you can just special summon it to his own Marincess link monster points to. Also, it acts as an extender the next turn after it was sent to the graveyard. This card is really good because this card itself is essentially just a 1 card Marincess Link 3. You normal summon this, link it into Marincess Blue Slug, add it back to the hand with Blue Slug's effect, then special summon it, go into a copy of Marincess Coral Anemone, and then special summon a monster from the graveyard with Coral Anemone's effect, and then bam, you have a Link 3 Marincess monster. So really good, and because of that, you play 3 of. Another card I'm playing 3 of, but it's honestly you can cut this to 2 if you want, is a copy of Marincess Pascalis. This card says if it's a normal special summon, you can special summon 1 Marincess monster from your hand in defense position. This is really good because sometimes if you open this and a copy of Marincess Blue Tang, you can normal summon this, special summon Blue Tang, get a dump from Blue Tang, ideally dump either a copy of Marincess Seahorse or a copy of Marincess Mandarin, and just go off. So sometimes it gets bricky at 3, so I can totally see you cutting this at 2 if you find something else you want to play. Next, for the Marincess monsters, and lastly for the Marincess monsters, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Marincess Mandarin. This card's really good because if you control 2 or more Marincess monsters, while this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can target 1 water link monster you control, special summon this card to his own that monster points to, and then banish it when it leaves the field. So this is really good because you can actually special summon it from your hand as an extender, or you can dump it with Marincess Blue Tang and then special summon it from the graveyard as an extender as well. So it's really good, and this card by itself is also a Marincess Link 3. If you activate 1 for 1, special summon this, link it off into Marincess Blue Slug, add this back to the hand with Blue Slug's effect, normal summon it, go into a copy of Marincess Coral Anemone, special summon this, or this would be banished, but then you could special summon the Blue Slug from the graveyard with Coral Anemone's effect, and then you could you can go into a Marincess Link 3 that way. So really good, and pretty much the whole point of this deck is to link climb into your higher link rating Marincess monsters. Or the next card we're playing is 3 copies of Swap Frog. This card's really good because it lets you discard a water monster to special summon it, and then on special you can dump a frog monster, and then it actually lets you add itself back to the hand, so you can use that effect again, which is really good because if you can dump a second frog monster, typically you have 1 frog monster plus Ronin Totem in the graveyard. You can banish 1 to special summon Ronin Totem, and then you can go into Totally Awesome. So this essentially just enables Totally Awesome plays. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog is just so you can dump it off Swap Frog or special summon it off Totally Awesome. So you're playing this pretty much just to dump it to the graveyard. Next, we're playing 1 copy of Ronin Totem. This lets you banish any frog monster to special summon it. Typically, you dump this with a swap frog. Then you banish one of your frog monsters in the graveyard to special summon this. And then you have 2 level 2 aquas with a swap frog and Ronin Toad. You can overlay it into Totally Awesome, and you have yourself negation. So really, really good. And you only need to play one of, because anything more than one of this is really, really bricky. 2 copies of Sea Archiver, just because a lot of the times you're discarding in this deck, and this card can actually special summon itself from the graveyard if you special summon a monster to a if a monster is normal special summon to a zone of link monster points, you can special summon this from the graveyard. So it acts as a really, really good extender. So definitely 2 of this. You could cut this if you want. You could play it at 1 of if you want. I really don't suggest playing it as a 3 of, but you know, I definitely like it as a 2 of. Another card I really, really like, and moving into the spells, is 1 copy of Marincess Battle Ocean. This card is the heart and soul of the deck. You only play 1 of it because it's actually searchable off of Marincess Sea Angel. So what this card does is all Marincess monsters you control gain 200 attack. Also, they gain 600 attack for each Marincess card equipped to it. Also, monsters you control in the extra monster zone that were link summoned using Marincess Crystal Heart as a material are unaffected by your opponent's card effects, which is great in terms of protection. And then the last effect is when you link summon a Marincess monster from your extra deck, you can equip up to 3 Marincess link monsters with different names from your graveyard to that link summon monster. So this is really good because the whole deck revolves around link climbing, and by the time you go into a Marincess Link 3, you can equip 3 different Marincess Link monsters to the Link 3, or if you go into a Link 4, you can equip 3 different Link monsters, and then this card lets you gain 600 for each, so that's really good. And very often in the deck, you can get really, really big monsters that are unaffected by your opponent's card effects, which are really, really amazing, because your opponent pretty much has to out sometimes a 4,500, sometimes a 4,600 body. You know, it's really, really good, and you only need to play 1 of it because it's searchable. A card you don't need to play, or you definitely need to play more than 1 of, is a copy of Signet Mining. This card says you can send 1 card from your hand or to the graveyard to add a level 4 or lower Cyberus monster from the deck to the hand. You can only use 1 per turn. This is really good because it searches your key combo starter, which is Marincess Blue Tang. Also, sometimes you want some of your cards in the graveyard, like Sea Archiver or Marincess Mandarin. So because of that, this card is amazing, and you definitely have to play this card as a 3 of. Not negotiable. I guess this is the other card that's not negotiable, what you play as a 3 of. Okay, you know, I think I actually lied to you guys. I found another card that you have to play as a 3 of. Called by the Grave. This card actually hates this deck actually hates hand traps. So I guess this card hates hand traps too. So, anyways, this deck really, really doesn't like playing with Ash or playing around Ash. So because of that, you play Call by the Grave just so your opponent can't stop your plays, essentially. So. Next, we're playing 1 copy of 1 for 1. This card is amazing in this deck. Like I said, this card is essentially a 1-card Link 3 if you can special summon a Marincess Mandarin off of it. So really, really good, and definitely play 1 of. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. It acts as another extender. Also, oh my god, look at how shiny that Monster Reborn is. Absolutely beautiful. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. This card is really, really good in this deck because most of your combo pieces aren't well, none of your combo pieces actually are 1-ofs. So because of that, you're not really afraid of banishing anything in this deck. I guess what you're scared of is banishing a lot of your frogs, so you couldn't go into Toad. But pretty much all your Marincess cards, you don't worry about banishing them. So definitely a good 2 of, because sometimes the 2 extra cards really, really help you. Now we're going to the trap lineup. We're going to start off by playing 3 copies of Marincess Wave. This card is absolutely ridiculous. This card is essentially an infinite permanence for the Marincess archetype. It says, if you control a Marincess Link monster, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negate that face-up monster's effects until the end of the turn. Also, if you control a link 2 or higher Marincess monster, all face-up monsters you control are currently unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of the turn. Also, if you control a link 3 Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So, let's start unpacking it. First of all, it acts as this form of disruption in this deck. You can set it on your opponent's turn, or you can set it on your turn, then on your opponent's turn, flip it face up to negate one of your opponent's monster effects and potentially stop their turn. Also, if you have a link 2 or higher monster, your stuff is unaffected by your opponent's card effects the rest of the turn, which is absolutely amazing. Also, if you control a link 3 card, like for instance, if you control a copy of if you control a copy of like Marincess Marble Rock or Marincess Great Bubble Reef, you can actually activate this card from the hand and then negate your opponent's effects. This card has a really good synergy with Marincess. I'm trying to figure out which one. Let me check. A copy of Marincess Marble Rock, because you can actually activate this directly from the hand if you control Marble Rock, and then you can use Marble Rock's effect to add it back to the hand. So you can essentially get 2 disruptions. Really good. Going on a similar kind of note, you really want to see your Marincess wave in this deck, and you really want to see a lot of the traps in this deck, because they're pretty much your primary form of disruption in this deck. So because of that, you play 3 copies of Trap Trick. Really good card. It lets you banish a normal trap from your deck and then set 1 card with the same name directly from your deck to your hand. Also, you can activate that trap card this turn. So really good. It lets you see Marincess wave, and it also lets you see the next 2 traps that we play in the deck. The next 2 traps we play are 2 copies of Paleozoic Dinomischus. This acts as another form of disruption. It says you can discard target 1 face-up card in the field, discard a card, and if you do, banish it. And then once per chain, when a trap card is activated while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon it as a level 2 normal aqua monster. And so, obviously, first of all, this is a really good form of disruption. Secondly, if you activate another trap, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. It's a level 2 aqua, and then if you get another frog on the field, you can go into a copy of Totally Awesome, and it gives you another form of negation. So, really good. I would play this as a 3 of if I had 3, but unfortunately, I only have the 2, so I play 2 of them. 2 copies of White Howling. This card is really good in the deck. It says if you control water monster, you can target 1 spell. Your opponent, you can target 1 spell in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do for the rest of the turn, negate all spell effects on your opponent's field. So really good. I would play this at 2 of. You can also search this with Trap Trick. So really good. So that's it for the main deck. Going into the extra deck, we play 2 copies of Marincess Blue Slug. Blue Slug is pretty much one of the key combo extenders in the deck. It says if this card is linked summon, you can target 1 Marincess monster in your graveyard except Blue Slug, add it to the hand, and then also for the rest of the turn you cannot special summon monsters except water monsters. This card has a really good synergy, like I said, with Mandarin and 1-for-1. It also has really good synergy with the Marincess Seahorse. So because of that, you play it as a 2 of. You could play it at 3 of if you want, but I think it gets bricky sometimes. Or you want the extra space in your extra deck, so you only play as a 2 of. I play 2 copies of Marincess Sea Angel. This is the card that searches the field spell. It actually searches any Marincess spell, but currently we only have 1, which is the field spell, which kind of sucks. If they ever get any more spells, this card is actually going to be nuts. I play it as a 2 of opposed to a 1 of because sometimes you need the arrow that it has, and you just want the extra 1 in your extra deck just in case you need to special summon this and have the arrow pointing this way, because Seahorse and Mandarin special summon to his own a water link monster points too. So because of that, we play 2. Also, we play 2 copies of Marincess Coral Anemone. I would play this card as a 3 of if I had 3, but unfortunately it's kind of pricey, so I only play it as a 2 of. It says you can target 1 water monster with 1500 or less attack in your graveyard. Special summon it to a zone that this card points to. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the rest of the turn except water. Also, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 Marincess card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So first of all, this is really good because it acts as recursion when it's sent from the field to the hand. Or field to the grave. and it's an extender. And a lot of the cards in the deck lock you into water, so this locking you into water really isn't bad. And the rest of the, pretty much the rest of the deck is water, so that restriction really doesn't hurt you at all. So 2 of these, I would play this at 3 of if you can. Another thing to note about this is if you equip this to a Marincess Link monster while you have because of the effect of Battle Ocean, and this card is sent to the graveyard, you get the Search too, so don't forget that. 1 copy of Marincess Crystal Heart. It really doesn't do anything, but if you link summon a Marincess Link monster to your extra monster zone, using this card, and you have Battle Ocean on the field, your card is unaffected by card effects. So you play that just if on the off chance that comes up. Typically you want it to come up, because then your Marincess Link monster becomes really thick and it's unaffected by stuff. So one of the MVPs of the deck, Marincess Marble Rock. This card is really good. So it says you can target 1 Marincess card in your graveyard except itself, add it to your hand, and you can only use this effect once per turn. And then when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard. For that battle, your monster cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage. So really good. It's pretty much just recursion in the form of a Link 3. Also, it gets really beefy if you have Battle Ocean and you link summon it to the extra monster zone. Also, sometimes you can make it unaffected by your opponent's card effects if you use Crystal Heart. It's really good. So you then play 1 copy of Marincess Wonderheart. We're just playing it because it's a Water Link 4 Marincess monster, and sometimes you want access to a Water Link 4. The real star of or the real boss monster, on quotation marks, of the deck is Marincess Great Bubble Reef. This card actually has amazing synergy with pretty much all the deck, including the frog stuff, because it says once per turn during each of your standby phase, you can banish 1 water monster from your graveyard or face up on the field to draw a card. Really good. Because you get to draw power. Also, each time a monster is banished, this card gains 600 attack until the end of the turn. Also, you can send 1 water monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon 1 of your banished monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. So this is actually nuts, because it has synergy with Mandarin if it banishes itself. It has synergy with the Ronin Totem if the Ronin Totem special summons itself, banishes the monsters by special summoning itself. And then the fact that it can banish cards itself to draw a card, and it gains 600 attack when it does that. It's incredible. Also, if you link summon this using Crystal Heart in the extra monster zone, and then you have Battle Ocean, and then you equip 3, this card becomes really thick, and it's really hard for your opponent to get over. So definitely a one of. You can honestly replace the second copy of Wonderheart with this. I just like to have Wonderheart just because I like to play 1 of each in the deck. I know it's kind of a crappy reason, but it is what it is. 1 copy of Boral Sword and 1 copy of Borreload. A lot of your monsters lock you into water monsters, so these particular 2 don't really come up often, but turn 2, sometimes you can make these, and it's a really good finisher turn 2, and then this can just steal your opponent's monster, so not much to say there. 1 copy is totally awesome. It's pretty much the only form of negation you have in this deck, so you have to play 1 of this. And then 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. This actually acts as a form of disruption on your opponent's turn 2. It doesn't let them activate graveyard effects. You could replace this with Bahamut Shark if you want to. I totally don't see why that would be a problem. Thank you so much for watching my Marincess deck profile. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. I actually have a Battles of Legend Armageddon box opening that's going to be going out pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. And please comment down below what deck profile you'd like to see next. The decks I have available to profile are Shaddolls, Subterrors, Gimmick Puppets, Crystal Beast, Witchcrafters, Evil Eye, and Dark Magician. So please comment down below what you'd like to see me profile next, and I will get to it. Thank you so much, and peace.